Hi everyone, Senia here from Sweet Earth Co. I've gotten several questions regarding propagating dahlias, and more particularly taking cuttings of dahlias. And we do that here at Sweet Earth when we want to multiply our stock of specific varieties of dahlias. There are times when we have some favorites that we only buy one or two of, and we want to multiply our stock. And so what we do is we pot them up in 4-inch containers like this. This is a mix of potting soil and Pro Mix. And we pot them up with the neck sticking out. This is pretty much what they look like when we first potted them up back on May 4th or 5th. All of the tubers had some buds forming. We could see that this one here is of all the ones that we potted up, this is the only one that had not taken off. And I'm not exactly sure. The buds right now look a little bit dry, but the soil is moist and the tuber itself is solid. It does not feel mushy or rotted. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Maybe it's just a slow one. But this is what they look like in bud form when we first potted them up. Now it's May 31st and they have sprouted. Some are a little farther along than others. But right now there's a few here that we can take cuttings from. They are on their second or third set of leaves. This one here, this spot right here is a good spot to take a snip. And this one here, we can take this portion of the cutting, and on this one back here, even though it's a little bit smaller, we can still snip right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these cuttings and we are going to dip them in some rooting hormone here. And these are a couple of different varieties. This one's rooting powder. This one's called rooting hormone, but they do the same thing. We dip. I've prepared a little in a plate here, and we're going to take our cutting, dip in the rooting hormone, and then replant them in these containers here. Now these also contain a mix of potting soil and Pro Mix. And I've prepped everything, and you want to do that ahead of time. And I'm going to go ahead and with a pencil just make a little hole. And I'm actually going to plant these near the edge of the container, because that way the roots have, when they feel a little confined, they tend to grow and sprout downwards. I've just found that I've had a little more success with the cuttings being successful when I do it this way. I've already poured some of the rooting hormone in here, and now I am going to take a cutting. I'm going to do this with one hand because I'm holding the phone, but you can see actually here that there is some new growth already generating. So I'm going to take this cutting, I'm going to dip it in the rooting hormone, and I'm going to place it in the hole that I've already made, and I'm going to squeeze up alongside. Okay, let's do the next one. Again, I'm leaving a set of leaves. I'm going to dip in the rooting hormone. And I'm going to plant it in the hole that I've already made. And one more time, we're going to take this cutting here. We're going to dip it in the rooting hormone and plant it in our container. So one important thing to remember is to label your containers once you've potted up the snips that you've done. And I would say in a couple of weeks' time, once you start seeing new growth come out the top, then these are going to be good to transfer into your cutting garden, into your cutting beds. These here that I've taken the cuttings from, these are now able to be planted right into the garden as well. You can continue to let this grow and take additional cuttings as it gets bigger, but I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to propagate it one time. So these three that I've just taken little propagations off of, these are ready to go into the garden. And then a few weeks later, I will test these and make sure that they've got some good roots growing, and then they will be ready to go into the garden. These here that are just a little bit farther behind, probably by next week we'll be ready to take a cutting from. And then this one, let's keep our fingers crossed on this one. So that's it. That's how we take cuttings and propagate our dahlias to multiply our tuber stock. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.